Hey, wait!
Hey, Constant, how's it going?
Oh, wow, what's that?
Well, you know, I did this video on the unboxing
Yeah.
of my 222, right? Like this watch when I was in Geneva.
Oh, this is your Comte de Vache?
So everyone was asking about the Comte de Vache,
Oh, man.
the Pièce Unique Comte de Vache that I had, and so I brought it in. Should we go check it out?
Oh my god, let's go. Right. Yeah, I've been dreaming to see this watch actually after the episode with Bank Climate and Talking Watches.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, I can see it in the flesh today.
Amazing. Okay,
Shall we?
Let's go after you.
Alright, let's go.
So, Constant, you know, like after we shot this unboxing video of my 222,
Yeah.
I started to receive a lot of DMs and questions about the watch that I'd mentioned in the video, which was my Pièce Unique Vacheron Constantin Comte de Vache chronograph, which was, as far as I know, the only modern version of it that's been made in yellow gold.
It is the only one.
And you know, people were so curious about it. I thought, you know, why not? Why don't I grab that watch and show it to our audience as well, so they have an understanding of that piece. And
Finally, you know, we have been waiting for these days since the days of talking watches. It's finally here, guys.
so I kind of wanted to reenact a little bit of an unboxing. So, like, if you can imagine, we're stepping back in the time now.
Time travel!
This is the moment I received the watch. I wanted to share this moment with you guys as well. We've got the original box and the watch is inside of there, so we're going to do that for you guys
Awesome.
now.
I'm gonna bring the box in. Here you go. Great big box of Vacheron here.
And so now, basically, you won't be able to see us because this gargantuan behemoth of a box has now blocked out not just the entire camera frame, but
So-
all the light in the room as well.
Yeah, it's gonna block all of us. Of course, the service guarantee here, and of course, the certification, and we'll show you this later.
Well, actually, why don't we show this now? Okay,
Yeah.
so this is actually kind of cool. So I'm going to move the box over for 1 second, and I'm just going to ask you for this folder. So
Okay.
So let's go back to the beginning of this project. I had really wanted a Comte de Vache. When the watch came out in 2015, I was just blown away by the beauty of this timepiece, right? 2015 it came out in platinum, and 2016 it came out in rose gold. And I was waiting for it to come out in yellow gold because the original watch, which was modeled after the 1687, was made in 36 pieces in yellow gold, as you were telling me. And I kept waiting, and it never came. Right? So one day I went over to go speak to Christian Selmany, and I said, hey, are you guys going to make this watch in yellow gold? Because it's my favorite case material. And he said, I don't think there's any plans to. Would that be something of interest to you? And I said, well, you know, Christian, I mean, for me, I have two ideas. I would like to either make a steel piece of this watch or perhaps a yellow gold execution. And he said, well, why don't we sit down and let's talk about some designs. So I sat down with Christian and his designer at Vacheron Constantin. Incidentally, I should also say it was an incredible honor for them to allow me to do this. So the Cabinotiers program was at the time created to allow people to kind of create unique versions of watches that they wanted to. It was such an extraordinary thing for a manufacturer to do, to have this level of interactivity with the client. Right? So I want to show you these two designs that came up with. So they decided to make one design of a steel watch and one design of a yellow gold Comte de Vache.
Cool.
I'm laughing a little bit because the steel watch may look familiar to you. So
This is what is quite familiar.
So that's a steel watch that they had initially designed for me. And so as you can see, it's a steel Comte de Vache with a tachymeter, not a pulsometer, but it's got a dial that may look a little bit familiar to you.
Yes, the 2017 release by Hodinkee.
Yes.
The 36 pieces. We end up going for.
So I decided not to go with this watch, which they said, okay, maybe this is better because there's a project that we may have to do for a steel watch, and I think that we're going to do something similar to this. So this watch, I guess, eventually became the Hodinkee.
Yeah, it became the Hodinkee watch, I guess.
Which was incidentally an incredible watch, and kudos to Ben and the entire team at Hodinkee for creating an absolute stunning watch. And instead, they came up with this design, which was for my yellow gold Comte de Vache, which I decided to go with. I just love the yellow gold material, and I feel that it has this incredibly beautiful vintage charm to it. And for a watch that is meant to be reminiscent of that golden era of watchmaking from the 1950s, I thought that would be the perfect material. The watch would eventually evolve from this as well, so this is not the final version of what we would see, but that was the initial design, and I absolutely loved it. My rationale also was, you know, they're probably going to make steel watches for themselves at some point as well.
Yep.
In fact, in 2019, they launched their own version of the Corne de Vache in steel, which is one of the most beautiful contemporary chronographs.
It's one of my
out there.
favorite contemporary chronographs actually in the modern world.
Dude, that dial on that watch is insanely beautiful. And I love just how like there's a track in between that's just slightly indifferent.
It's cool. It's a two-tone opaline dial.
It's phenomenal.
It's amazing.
And then the subtle use of red every 5 minutes as well.
I mean, these are the details that nobody talks about.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we are different. We are nerds.
Nerd alert!
Exactly. Okay, so we've shown you that, and now you know there's a funny history to that watch. I'm going to ask Constant a couple of questions about the history of the Corne de Vache, because I know he's something of an expert in vintage watches. So Constant, let's walk it back. It's the 200th anniversary of Vacheron Constantin.
Yep.
Tell me about the legendary 1687.
In the 200-year anniversary of Vacheron Constantin, the Maison actually decided to celebrate with the launch of the 6087, which is the original Corne de Vache in 35mm. So they made actually 36 pieces. 26 of them is in yellow gold, 8 of them is in pink gold, and of course 2 of them is in platinum. It was actually Vacheron's first ever waterproof manual wound chronographs with a screw-down case back. Yeah.
So wait, hang on. In 1955, it will be competing directly with the Patek 1463.
Yes, the Tasty Tondi 1463,
right,
which is incidentally one of the most important manual wound chronographs ever. And coincidentally, they also share the same movement, the Vacheron 23, which is the, of course, for Vacheron is the caliber 492, which is the manual winding chronograph based on the Vacheron 23, which is one of the best manual wound chronographs ever made.
But Constant, you were telling me that this was in fact not the first time that Vacheron had used these famous cow horn lugs.
So if you guys don't know, Corne de Vache is actually a direct translation from French, means cow horn. The design was actually already done with some of the smaller watches, you know, the 3 hands and the 3-handers and the small seconds.
Well, I think just in general, Vacheron Constantin is one of the greatest creator of shaped lugs. You know,
it's true, yeah.
And if we think about it, they beautifully use flame-shaped lugs. They use the crab-shaped lugs as well, and of course they've got the famous Batman-shaped lugs as well, right?
It really does. And who even thinks of you know, the inspiration of using cow horns?
Yes,
it's quite pretty crazy, you know, at the time.
I feel one of the great things about Vacheron today is, thanks to the leadership of Louis Ferla, is they've really recaptured this sense of creativity as well. Like, I think the Vacheron today, for lack of a better word, become like the sexy brand again, right?
Yeah. Look how Vacheron Constantin is so, you know, is so desirable now.
Apparently, Brad Pitt's a huge fan.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, you know.
Brad Pitt, we love you, dude. You and your 222s. So we need to get a Corne de Vache on you, Brad Pitt. Okay, so let's go from that to it's 2015. It's the 260th anniversary of Vacheron Constantin. It is the 60th anniversary of the 6087, and Vacheron Constantin drops that watch. They drop the new Corne de Vache. Now, I think this is an incredible demonstration of the fact that when Vacheron does a modern interpretation of a past icon, it makes it better. From a size perspective, it goes from 35mm to 38.5mm. But from a quality perspective, in terms of the shape of the lugs, right, is no comparison. Like, you know, if you look at the vintage watches, they're kind of rounded, and in the new watches, there's like a little bit of a straight edge that's added to it. So you've got this beautiful contrast between this round shape and this dynamic sense of velocity through the lugs, right?
The design is way more defined.
So many cool collectors had this idea for a modern version of a 6087, and because that watch was made only in 36 examples, as you mentioned, right, it was a really hard watch to find in beautiful condition. So now Vacheron brings that watch back, and as I said, in 2015 they bring it back in platinum. In 2016 in rose gold, and this is where again my story comes in, where I wanted a yellow gold version, and you know, so I asked, and out of nowhere, you know, Christian and the then CEO of the brand, Charlie Torres, said, you know, Wave, you want this watch, why don't we make a Cabinotiers version of it for you? And this was such a wonderful gesture. I mean, I couldn't believe that they would allow me to do this. And so I would love to, you know, thank both of those guys as well for this incredible opportunity. So let's go to this watch now as well. So Constant, I'm going to ask you to help me unbox it because you're very good at this.
Man, this is such a big box.
It is really massive.
It is massive. I don't know where you guys can see, but it's
I'm going to turn it around for you. Yeah.
So thick layer here. Okay, cost certification again, and here we go. So does that bring you back?
Yeah, I remember the first time I set eyes on this also.
So this is
a pretty extraordinary moment,
All right, I'll pass this on to you,
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. So Constant, that's the watch we're talking about as well. That is my yellow gold Cabinotiers. From what I understand, Pièce Unique, because I don't think they've made a contemporary yellow gold watch except for this one. When you are designing a watch and you know you have a certain degree of creative freedom, you start thinking all kinds of crazy ideas. You know? And because I'm a huge fan of Breguet numerals, for example, I was like, oh, can we try that? But in the end, what I didn't want to do was apply a design language from another brand or another watch onto a Vacheron. A Vacheron must look like a Vacheron.
Awesome.
And I think that the Roman numerals are so much a part of the Vacheron language, especially from the 1950s as well. So we want to keep those, but Christian Salmoni had found vintage executions of chronographs from the era with these beautiful applied dot markers, and I fell in love with this, right? And then he said, okay, well, what kind of track do you want? Do you want a telemeter? Do you want a tachymeter? I was like, bro, I want a pulsometer, right?
That's awesome.
And I want to use it when I'm looking at this watch because I'll be able to actually measure my accelerated heartbeat as well. But what was really incredible was during the process of designing the style, I remember I was at Basel Fair and I got a phone call from Christian that said, hey, I'm going to be coming to Basel tomorrow. Let me show you some dials. He had actually made not just this dial, but 4 other dials, so 5 in total. And he brought all 5 of them for me because he liked them all. So if you look at them, they're all pulsometer dials and they all feature these beautiful applied Roman numerals at 12 and 6 o'clock, right? 3 of them have stick markers for the additional hour indexes, and then one additional one has dot markers as well. You can see the finishing for them is all slightly different. You can see that 2 of them have actually burgundy scales. And so what was incredible was when I received this watch, and I thought it was just going to come with this one dial. They actually gave me this beautiful case with these 4 additional dials and said, Wei, if you ever decide that you want to swap the dials out, we can do that for you.
Damn.
And then so you essentially have like 5 different watches in one watch, which I thought, again, was such a beautiful gesture. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Oh my God, it's like, oh, this is like such a, I think Vacheron is so kind, to do this, and to do a piece unique for you is amazing, and giving you 4 more dials is just insane.
Another one, another one, another one.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, I couldn't even like speak English anymore. I was just mumbling incoherently to myself. I think I was crying, So the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about this watch, which I think was really interesting as well, was, as you guys know, the movement inside of here is the caliber 1142.
Yes.
Right? So the initial Vacheron Constantins that were using this Lemania-based chronograph movement, the Bosch is based on the 2310, was called the 1141. The 1142 is the Geneva seal version of it.
Yes, right? The Geneva Hallmark edition. Yeah.
So what was really interesting was Christian Salmoni said to me, listen, I have a surprise for you. And I said, oh, what's that, sir? Because I've had so many surprises already. I'm not sure if my accelerated heartbeat will be allow me to take any more. And he said, okay, turn the watch over. So I turned the watch over, and again, if I wasn't crying before, I started crying there because he said, listen, I wanted to do something even more special for this watch. So this watch actually features a unique finishing on the chronograph train.
Wow.
So if you look at it, right, all the time-telling parts of the watch, right, so the normal base plate and so on, are using the traditional Côte de Genève.
Yeah.
But if you look at everything related to the chronograph train, right, from the column wheel all the way through the coupling lever, and so on and so forth, it's using like a grené, like a frosted finish. That has a contrasting handmade angles on it.
Wow.
Right? And that's the only Corne de Vache, or actually only Vacheron Constantin chronograph that's ever had that finishing applied to it. So it's special not just on the dial side, but it's also special on the case material side, but also from the perspective of the movement as well.
Such an amazing, I mean, it's such, these are all the subtle details that, for the nerds to really tell what's really special about this watch. And caliber 1142 doesn't really need any introduction. It is the Lemania 2310 as the base. It is the Geneva Hallmark movement, Breguet overcoil, column wheel, lateral clutch chronograph.
Yes, correct.
With 48 hours power reserve running at 21,600 vibration per hour. It's an amazing chronograph. It's an important chronograph.
Super important.
Yeah, and in history and in modern times, and Vacheron has did such wonderful work on it, and to make it such a beautiful watch. And with yours, with that piece unique, two-tone finishing, I would say. Yeah. This is really a special one, man. Congratulations, babe.
So it's two-tone on the dial and it's two-tone on the movement as well.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much. And yeah, so like this is my my 2 Vacheron watch collection. I've got my Corne de Vache. and I've got my 222.
Oh man!
And I have to say also a huge thank you to Vacheron for allocating me a 222. A huge thank you to Louis Ferla, Lauren Pervez, Amory Balbanco, and Alex Vogler, and of course the legendary Christian Somany. And so these are my 2 yellow gold Vacheron Constantins.
All of the watch collectors are crying right now.
Yeah, come on. and so you guys wanted to know about this watch when I was talking about this watch, so we brought it in for you, and now you've got them both. All right.
Awesome, man.
Thanks, Constant.
Thanks for sharing.
Such a pleasure, guys. Peace.